Kia ora everyone, welcome to this Empire Video Game Review. I am your resident tech and gaming guy Dave, and this week we are taking a look at the newly released Star Wars Squadrons games from the guys at Motive Studios and Electronic Arts. Now, this review was captured on the PS4 Pro at 1080p with super sampling. Parts of it are in virtual reality, parts of it are not, and throughout it all I am using the Thrustmaster hands-on throttle and stick, or HOTAS. So yeah, let's jump right into this one. Now, something that's worth pointing out from the get-go here is that this is significantly cheaper than your average video game, especially from the likes of Electronic Arts. Available on the consoles for around $70, and if you're looking at the EA Play Store on the PC, you can pick it up for 50 of your finest Kiwi bucks. This is a lightweight, but definitely fun-filled experience. Now, of the game itself, I have not actually sunk that much time into the single-player campaign. It tells an interesting Star Wars story, but one that I find less compelling than jumping into the deeply intense and very awesome 5v5 multiplayer component of this game. Now, it's pretty straightforward. There are two modes. You have got the dogfight mode, which does exactly what it says on the tin. It puts 5 of you against 5 of the other team, whoever they might be, depending on whether or not you want to be the Empire or the Rebels. And the other thing that you have going on in the multiplayer space is Squadron Battles. This is a more tactical experience where 5 human-controlled players from each side square off against the other teams, 5 human players, but also a Star Destroyer or appropriate frigate, and there are waves of the battle. So you start off focusing on the opposition directly, and through taking them down plus a bunch of AI players that are also in the space where you are, you have the opportunity to either press the attack on the opponent's half, and the opponents have to then defend that quite heavily, or if they press you and the morale swings in their direction, you have to go into a heavily defensive position and try and stop the opponent from taking out your starfighter and ultimately your base. This is a cool, very cool game mode to experience because it is a lot more tactical and phase-based as opposed to a straight-up dogfight, which takes about 10 to 11 minutes, if I'm honest, the average dogfight. The Starfleet Battles component is probably closer to 25-30 minutes, unless, you've got a really good team or they've got a really good team, in which case it could be much shorter. Now, one thing that I have noticed in this is that the starfighters themselves have a good amount of customization options available to them, all of which are redeemed through in-game currency, which is earned, not bought, which I think is great. And through each level that you get in the game, you are awarded the ability to unlock 2 permanent additions to either factions, loadout options, or you can go for the vanity items to make your particular Star Wars fighter ship of choice look a bit sparkly and blingy, and that's exterior and interior, and it works in a number of ways. Now, the graphics and sound direction on this game are brilliant. They are exactly what you would expect. It is like somebody took all of the good things that you remember about X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, if you are old like I am, and applied the most modern and beautiful set sort of splash of paint over the top. It is a really nicely done, and the environments that you fight in are also really interesting and exciting, with little bits of cover in there, and even the open areas, the ones that take place in the skies over Yavin. There are clouds and other things that allow you to get the drop on your opposition. Honestly, I think that for what this game is, this is my sleeper hit of the year. I think it's a great deal of fun. It's scratching a multiplayer itch in me that I didn't know I had. But right now, with the throttle and stick, and especially in virtual reality, this game is hitting all the right buttons for me. It is beautiful, it is really playable, the action is intense, it's exciting, you never feel cheated in the multiplayer modes, and the fact that they have brought all this to bear in a game that they also decided to make fully playable in virtual reality is just phenomenal. I would absolutely say that the best way to play this game, if the option is available to you, is with a throttle and stick and in virtual reality. It is as close to being in an X-Wing or a TIE fighter as you are ever likely to be. I have enjoyed this game a great deal. I will be playing it for the rest of the year. I do not doubt that. I will probably be playing it into the next year as well. Hopefully on a next generation console, but even if not, on the PS4 Pro, it's still awesome. So for me, this one gets a well-deserved 8.8 out of 10. It is a lightweight experience. It's not going to blow your socks off with a 30-hour long campaign, but it doesn't need to. The action is delivered in 10 to 20-minute bursts through the excellent multiplayer modes and with just enough variation in the combat and the styles between the ships to make it interesting. And what's not to love about flying an X-Wing or a TIE fighter and taking out a bunch of randoms on the internet? Answer, very little. Anyway, thanks very much for checking out this review. If you like what this is all about, then don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, turn on the alerts so you can see when the next one comes along from us. As always, I have been your resident tech and gaming guy, Dave, and if this is your first time on the channel, please hang around, check out some of the other stuff we've got. We've got tech, we've got other video games, we've got cars and guns and food and lifestyle, and Nick does a webisode thing, and it's all good. But if this is the last video you're here with us today on the Empire, then I have been your resident tech and gaming guy, Dave, and I will see you.
We have scouts to find. According to the battle plan, we aren't flying together on this mission, but you'll be on my wing sooner than later. See you out there.